to our second meeting. This is great to have, and it's great to be back in school still with your children working through this. So I'm gonna reintroduce myself. My name is Mrs. Louderback, and I am the WAVE Team Science teacher, and I'll be leading you through this presentation. I just want to say thank you again for coming today and being a part of this as we have this open communication between teachers and parents and what's going on in the school. So our goals for today, we're going to revisit a little bit of some tips and tricks for working at home and helpful links. We'll look at grades, talk about how Infinite Campus is your best bet, navigating the digital learning space, and in terms of Google Classroom, and then parent-teacher conferences. So parents, want to say thank you again for all your hard work that you've been doing with your kids. I know it can be stressful at times, trying to be teacher, parent, and work from home. Want to give you a little resource to help you in terms of managing your children and communicating with them, some understanding. So, you know, first, it's always good to have a designated learning space for your child, to create a schedule, try to limit distractions, which we'll go into. Make sure, you know, even if you're not working from home, you want to make sure you check in with your child periodically throughout the day, but also see how they're doing socially and emotionally as well. If you have any concerns, make sure you communicate with us, their teachers. Email is always the easiest and quickest response. Don't forget your own health and take care of yourself, and then try to let your child learn and grow. Things that can be helpful, you know, especially on those at-home days. What we're finding is students are struggling the most with the learning at home, and completely understanding why it is a struggle. So we have a planner that your child should have gotten at the beginning of the year. I highly recommend that the days that they're working from home, they get out a planner, they go to the team website, they look at the agenda on the team website, and they fill in what they need to do for that day. And that, in a sense, makes a to-do list of what can be done and focus on it one task at a time. We recommend time allotment. So we are required to provide work every day, and it should give or take be roughly the same amount of time that happens at class. Now, sometimes they'll get done early, sometimes it takes longer. What we recommend is setting a timer for 1 hour for each class. If they get it done early, fantastic. That would be time for them to do some me time or something of interest to them. If, however, an hour goes by and they're still working on an assignment, that's time to either ask for help. It's also time to take a break. Sometimes you just need a mental break between your working of different classes or an assignment, just to kind of reset. The other thing we recommend is that you really encourage your child to stick with a schedule. It is very tempting on those off days to sleep in, to take naps, you know, to not follow the routine. So it's very beneficial to try to maintain that schedule of getting up before 8 a.m., checking in, doing the work. I also recommend that you remove any distractions, and we'll talk more about that as we go through. Okay. So things that teachers are noticing. So there are a couple things that we're finding with the Chromebooks. So one of them is it blank? It's blank. We have a lot of kids who are turning in assignments that are completely blank or incomplete. So I think a lot of that has to do with Google Classroom. We put in the assignment and then they're rushing to get it done, or to say it's done, or to have it marked, check marked, so that they can do other things. Another time is that with it being incomplete, sometimes students will start it and then they'll get distracted with other work, or they're transitioning between classes and they forget to come back to the assignment, and then they turn it in without it being incomplete. Your teachers are trying to be flexible in this regard, and sometimes in Infinite Campus, we even mark that it was turned in blank. So if you see in the notes of the assignment blank, you might want to revisit with your child and have them go back and open it again. The biggest thing that we're seeing is distraction, especially YouTube. I wish I could say that we could block YouTube, but we can't. So often that's just going to have to be a discussion between you and your child. Oh no.
May I have your attention, please? If you have not released your students, please do so at this time so they can make it to the buses. Thank you.
As you can tell, we're doing this at school, so there'll be various announcements. And I should warn you that they're expecting a fire drill at some point too. And I tried to get them to not do it in this room, but we'll see what happens. So anyway, YouTube is the biggest distraction. The other thing that we can see, because again, these are school devices, so we do have programs on here where we can see what your student is doing throughout the day. So if they're not being distracted with YouTube, they're not logging on at all. There are times where we can see the amount of time your child has been on the Chromebook, and sometimes it's just during the advisory check-ins. So we're trying to reach out and say, hey, make sure you get to your Chromebook, make sure you do your work. But the biggest thing is having that open communication between teachers, students, and parents. And making sure there's work being done at home. We are mandated by the state to provide an assignment every day during the work week of the actual school day. So if they say that there was no assignment posted for science, that's not true. You definitely want to go back to that WAVE team agenda page on the website, and you can check all of your students' coursework and see what they should be doing and completing.
May I have your attention, please? Pearson Foster, please return to Mr. Weiss's room. Pearson Foster, please return to Mr. Weiss.
All kinds of fun announcements. I want to remind you, if you have not signed up for Remind, this is a good way that we send out communication between students and parents on what's going on in the WAVE team. And like I sent out the Remind in terms of the meeting today. Also Campus Portal, which we will go into more detail today. That's another key thing that we're going to go into. You'll find that Campus Portal is your friend. So let's talk more about Infinite Campus versus Google Classroom. When it comes to your students' grades, Infinite Campus is your best bet. You want to go to Infinite Campus first when checking on your student. Infinite Campus will let you monitor attendance, grades, see assignments in detail, lunch information, and school fees. And what I want to point out here on this link, which is this slide will also be on the WAVE team website, is the support for Infinite Campus. I was talking to a parent of the district, and some of them say, you know, this is a tool that they've given to parents, but they've not ever really shown you how to use. So if you go to the link here on Infinite Campus, it'll send you to a variety of help supports to navigate your way through Infinite Campus. But Infinite Campus should be your first go-to when checking on your child's assignments and grades. Google Classroom, that's really just a platform that teachers are using to deliver lessons, to view work completion, to check grades and give feedback on those lessons, to communicate between students and teachers. And then it's also used for a variety of educational apps that we incorporate within our lessons. So often what you want to do is you want to look at your Infinite Campus first to see what grades are missing or what grades are completed or need to be redone, and then visit the Google Classroom. Essentially, the journey of your students' work should be, first, you want to check Infinite Campus or Campus Portal, I believe it's what it's called for parents. If your student hall has good grades, yay, fantastic, that's time to celebrate. If they have missing or incomplete work, that's where you need to go to step 2, and you need to talk with your student. Be engaged, discuss the reasoning. Is it they just forgot to do it, or is it that they're struggling with the activity itself? Make sure you listen to their needs and check it together. One of the biggest influences in student success is parent engagement and knowing that you care about them and their grades. So once you have that discussion, you know what assignments are missing, you're talking it out, then you want to go to Google Classroom, find the assignment, make the correction, and then notify your teacher of the correction or of the assignment being done. It will vary. Sometimes Google Classroom will notify us immediately. Sometimes we don't get notification, and I'll explain more about that here in a bit. But this essentially should be your journey to your students' work. So one of the things that I want to notify you of, and again, this information will be found on the slideshow of the parent website, but you can get 2 types of notifications delivered to you. There's the Infinite Campus notifications, and this will give you notifications specific to grades. What grades have been posted. It'll also give you attendance, and you can select the different settings for that. I know some parents have settings where it's selected for missing assignments, but there's also notifications where you can have sent assignments that are 70% or lower, and you'll be notified. And you can talk to your child like, hey, I noticed your grade wasn't super spectacular on this assignment. Do you want to discuss why? Maybe we can work it out and redo it. It all starts at this notification process. Some of you may have been invited by your teacher to join the email summaries in Google Classroom. I hope that's not too loud for you guys. They just did the fire. But you definitely want to accept it. Now, the email summaries, that is mainly going to be about the day-to-day work of what's happening in the classroom itself. Their normal learning periods. So whereas Infinite Campus is the final grades, this is more day-to-day stuff. So often Google Classroom is used as just a platform for learning activities, maybe not assignments or things that will have a grade. So this is good to have those weekly discussions with your child and figure out what's going on in their classes, but their actual physical grades are fine. So this could not have been on a better day. Thank you guys for your patience in this. So let's look at the specifics of Google Classroom and what it looks like on your child's end. I highly recommend you spend a little bit of time with your child to revisit Google Classroom and to see all the material. If you need me to increase the volume here, let me know. I know there's a distraction going on, and I apologize for that. So let's look at Google Classroom. To start with, typically you have these blocks here. These are your students' classes. A lot of students are going to the to-do list on Google Classroom. And that is totally great to start with in terms of looking at assignments. But notice that the to-do list only shows assignments. It does not show the actual work that's being placed or materials that are being placed. The review page, that just kind of gives a review of what's being learned, what has been done. Calendar is a great feature to see what is due, what's coming up, and what has been past due. And I also want to say you can actually adjust these squares to be in the schedule of your child. So if they have science third hour, they can put that in the first block, and they could put advisory in the second block. So all of this is flexible to move, which is kind of cool. Typically, when they go to a website, their team website, they have the stream, which things get embedded throughout. It's kind of like a stream of any kind of material. You have your classwork. This is where most of the classwork is posted. And people is where they can see their other students and their teachers' emails and send emails directly to them. So your typical assignment has a variety of things. This is just an example of what an assignment would be in class. And what I like about this is, it shows the information that's being sent. It's got a checklist, a video that we recommend, and different items within. So oftentimes there's a lot of material in their students' work, and they need to click view assignment to see all this. often they just go to the stream. Oh, I'm sorry. They just go to the stream and they don't see all the stuff within it, okay? So at this point, I'm gonna hop off my Google slide and I'm gonna go to my example slide here and go into my WAVE team example. So WAVE team example. All right, so we made this so that you could see what it looks like on a student end. The stream kind of shows all the information. Then we've got classwork here and the people. So if I needed to reach out and talk to any of my fellow classmates about a joint project, I can email them through the people, or I can email my teacher directly. Classwork, there's a couple different items to be aware of. Anything that's assignment comes up as a clipboard. So this tells me there's an assignment with a doc and a video. And if you notice, sometimes there's a lot of information here. So I have to scroll through to see. And I have been telling all the students to go through view assignments to see all the material that takes place. Now this is where we're seeing a lot of kids who will open up the assignment and then they just click turn in. And they turn it in without even opening up the material or going through things. And so then Mr. Heilman will get the assignment, he'll open it, he'll see it's blank, and he'll probably make a comment that says blank, redo. And that's something that we definitely don't want to see happen. Here, oh goodness, which one was it? I think it's this one, assignment for Wednesday. Here's one that was another assignment that we practice here, where students can see where the comments are. So here, I did the same thing. I had turned in an assignment incomplete. He made a response to say, this assignment was incomplete. I need to make sure I redo it and resubmit. So I have to click on the assignment. It'll open up the Google Doc. I'll read the directions, fill it in, and then turn it in. So that's just one little item that we're seeing happening. The other thing is post. So this little icon is what we call materials. And oftentimes we put this for something that may not be maybe an activity and may not be actually assigned as a grade, or it may just have a link. And so I know in my class, if it's just a link or a Google form, I post it as a material because they don't need to click turn in every time. It'll just automatically send them to the link and then they can find the material itself. There's another feature with Google Classroom that's called the question. And you can send a question and it has an instant little chat feature where students can engage in a learning activity, whether they're at home or in the class, and it's all streamlined throughout. So here, Mr. Heilman asked, what subject do we teach? And we filled in the comments. And then I can add additional comments if I wanted to. And then I can send a private comment, but that would go to Mr. Heilman directly. So the main thing is, we do post something every day. We put dates on them, so you want to pay attention to the dates itself, and then you want to fully read the information that's provided. Here, it's a Google form. He marked it as an assignment, and so sometimes the material pops up here as the form itself, but I didn't have to necessarily click turn in to get the points because it happens with the form. And that's just something to be mindful of. And then we have the upcoming, which will tell me what material is going to happen as it goes through. Again, that's also found in the calendar feature. My calendar is going to be a little crazy because I'm a teacher, but it tells me what to do today, what to do ahead of time. I will stress that the calendar feature and the to-do list, again, that only shows assignments. It does not show information that has been posted. So I can see here the assignments that I need to do or the missing assignments that are found, but I just want to stress a lot of times teachers are also posting class activities that come up as materials, so it may not come in the assignment form. So that's a little bit of Google Classroom and what it looks like on the student end. I would recommend, again, the best thing to do is to sit down with your student and work through things together. Or just say, hey, can you show me things are a lot different than when I was in school? So next is parent-teacher conference time. We're excited to do this and to go through and meet with you and kind of put an idea of your student and your child face to face. In a sense, we're all adjusting. We're wanting to do virtual conferences, so it'll be a Zoom link as well between your parents and the teacher. Just trying to keep numbers down between COVID-19. Also, it should have been announced, but we do have a couple of teachers who are expecting young children in the future, or they're just expecting, so we want to try to keep them healthy too. So all of these will be signed up via your advisory teacher. There is a link to the website on how to sign up with information. If you want to speak with specific teachers, an essential teacher or an intervention teacher, let's say you need to figure out what's going on in band class, that can be requested, and we can forward that information on to that teacher as well to see if they can join. We also have an opt-out of conferences for the, if you feel like you don't want to meet, your child is doing good, maybe this meeting right here covers everything. We do ask that you fill out the opt-out option. We're required to keep track of how many parents we've communicated with and how many parents we've had information in terms of I want a conference or I don't want a conference. So if you know you're going to be one that does not want a conference, please fill this out just so we can keep track of number-wise. Yeah, the form and everything. Mr. Hammond does a pretty good job of putting stuff in the chat as well. It will be signing up through Sign Up Genius. So when you click on the link of your specific teacher, I clicked mine, obviously, because I'm the one hosting it, but you can see the information there. You can fill it out and then submit when you sign in. And it'll give us a spreadsheet, and we'll arrange the time slot for any various teachers that need to be seen or adjusted in that regards. All right, with that, we are open to any questions or concerns you may have. You can feel free to throw them into the chat box, and Mr. Heilman will go over and answer it with you, or you can unmute yourself and ask your question, and I will do my best to answer, or if I don't know the answer, I will write it down and find the answer for you. Okay, well, if there are no other questions, that's all that I have planned for today. So, you're welcome to ask away, email. I'm going to throw out, always email any questions you may have directly if you don't feel like presenting in this format. And have those conversations with your children because we want them to be successful too. Other than that, you are, you're welcome to sign out or leave. I'll stay on the window a little bit longer for you as well. But that's all I have. So thank you again for coming.
No questions. Just want to say thank you. Thanks for hosting the meeting.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, well, it looks like people are leaving and there's no other thing, so I'm going to go ahead and end it. But thank you again. We'll have this recording on the website along with the slide itself. So I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next month.